here I am actually covering a semi-breaking news story. So this Kanye West, Travis Scott, Billie Eilish thing actually wasn't. So let me give you my entry on this story. I saw it on Twitter last night. It was kind of a bubbling story. It was kind of catching Twitter momentum. And then a few of my friends started talking about it before I went to bed last night. And I wake up this morning and now he's covering it like it's a big story. So the gist of the story is that, and it actually springs out of the thing that one of the last things I was talking about in the last video with Travis Scott, the Astro World. So the Astro World tragedy is that happened in November. A bunch of fans got crushed. 10 people got killed. There's $1 million lawsuits around it. And as I said in the video, in my last video that I did last night, Travis Scott never really, when you listen to his interview with Charlamagne the God, he never really takes necessarily, like, he doesn't take responsibility for it. He doesn't say it was his fault, anything like that. He says that he didn't find out about it, about really what happened, until he's back, I guess, in the suite with Kylie and hanging out, and they were telling him, hey, people got hurt, everything like that. There's a ton of videos, there's a bunch of coverage of the event where people were kind of timelining what happened and where Travis Scott was on stage. There are a few videos on that if I can find them, I will link them to the description box of this video. I gotta find those. I remember watching them last year when it happened. So Billie Eilish is on tour, and because people are back touring, and she recently had a situation where she had one of her fans have some kind of medical distress at the show. She stops her show. She makes sure the fan gets help, and she gets on Twitter and she's like, I was just helping a fan, and she deletes this tweet, which is the beginning of the controversy, because then Kanye is like, you need to apologize to Travis. So this is where I kind of get to introduce a lot of people to a phenomenon that started on basketball Twitter. And this is when, so on Twitter, in basketball Twitter, there's this thing called subtweeting. And I'm sure it happens in a lot of other Twitter spaces where people will say something where it's basically a double entendre. So people will make a statement, and there's a bunch of things that are unsaid in this statement that people draw inferences from. And it's reported, and it's not necessarily untrue, that LeBron James is the king of the subtweet. He'll tweet something, and he's saying one thing over here when he's really meaning this thing over here. And there are a whole bunch of people in basketball circles that decipher his tweet, what it means, what the ramifications are, which gets into a little bit of the political sphere because he does a lot of political tweeting. That's not what we do here on this channel. So, and then you get into like Twitter etiquette, which is, what happens when you delete a tweet. But everything on the internet is freaking archived. So you can, if somebody famous deletes a tweet, you can go to I think it's archive.org. There's a few sites that like archive like everything that happens on Twitter. So once you delete it, it's not like it's gone. Someone will find it and then they'll retweet it. They'll find your tweet, they'll put it in a Twitter thread, and they'll retweet it. Which is one of the reasons why we know about this story. Because Billie Eilish deleted the tweet. So Kanye took it as, hey, this tragic event happened in November. And you, meaning Billie Eilish, had a similar event happen at your event, and you come off when you're doing this tweet as it came off to Kanye as kind of a virtue signal. Well, hey, I'm a better person than you because I didn't. The subtweet is, I'm a better person than you because I didn't kill 10 people at my event. Because I actually stopped my event and made sure people got help. Fans look at it and they're like, why is Kanye, who we already kind of don't like for a whole bunch of reasons, even though we used to like Kanye, going off on Billie Eilish, who a lot of people really like for a whole host of reasons. And so now a bunch of people are like, hell with Kanye West. He's horrible, blah, blah, blah. He's saying he's not going to... Him and Travis Scott are supposed to play Coachella. It's his next big event coming up. And he's like, well, I'm not going to be there unless Billie Eilish apologizes. And it's like I said last night, I'm not real big on apologies, especially if you didn't do anything wrong. Like, there's no... And so that's kind of the interesting dynamic about this situation. I don't know that Billie should necessarily apologize, because it goes on the whole mental thing of apology is weakness, and no one wants to appear weak. And then and then it goes along with the fact of you regret what you said, so you're not, you're not trying to make any waves. You don't stand behind what you said. Part of the reason I don't do a whole bunch of apologies is that I don't, in my personal life, I try not to say things I don't mean. So if I said it to you, or if I wrote it, or if I put it on video, if I put it on wax, I probably meant that sentiment. I probably meant that sentiment at the time. I may come back later and look at it and be like, oh, I may feel differently now. That's rare for me. Like, usually if I say something, it's just, for me, it's in stone. I don't do a whole bunch of, oh, let me run away from what I said about, 10 years ago. I said it. I probably meant it at the time. And I'm willing to defend it, even if my views may have changed on the thing. I'm willing to defend what I said then, and I'll say something new and defend what I say now. That's where you get into why she deleted the tweet, and which is the crux of the controversy. If you said it, and you didn't mean it as a diss about Travis, why delete it? That's the controversy, why she deleted the tweet. I read the E! story earlier about it, which pretty much encapsulates what I've talked about. And she's like, now the interesting update to the story is Travis hasn't responded to Billie, but he did like Kanye's post, which generated likes on Kanye's post. This is way more about Twitter etiquette and the way that Twitter acts more. With
Geico, we can easily bundle home and car insurance and save even more.
Geico, more than anything else, which is why I'm kind of interested in the story, other than it does have a music angle to it. So that's the story. I kind of feel like this is the way I look at it. I get that people don't like Kanye. I get that Kanye's trying to do a power move here. It's literally what it is. For whatever reason, Billie Eilish deleted the tweet. Weird. Like I say, stand by what you said. If you said it and it wasn't about Travis, then don't delete it. Deleting it looks like it was. That's the problem. Is that her deleting the tweet lends credibility to Kanye. In not just in certain circles, just that's the optics of it. It looks like, oh, well, I wouldn't have deleted it if I wasn't subtweeting about Travis. That's the short version of the story. I'm gonna follow this story because it's musician beef, which doesn't happen very often. This won't be the watershed moment like the like 4 or 5 years ago when MGK went after Eminem. Like, it's not going to revitalize a genre or anything. It's just going to be minor music story for a day or two. Somebody's rep will come out and say something, and it'll be a thing, unless Kanye tries to drag it out to have the story have legs. But that's basically what happened. I think that she shouldn't have. I wouldn't have deleted the tweet, but I get why she did it. I would have done it, but that's just me. So that's the quick news break here at Mixtapes and Mistakes. I'm going to actually put the other 2 videos out that I was going to do Monday. I'm going to do them today. So, peace and Afro Grease. Catch you on the flip side.